dude. Don't come through the door. I will shoot.
Hi, I'm the Gun Guy. Thank you very much for all of your support of Gun Guy TV. I am super duper amazingly grateful. I really do appreciate it. New Mexico is a strange place just about now because the governor is completely whacked. And I've got Sam Paredes, who's going to join me here in just a minute. He is with Gun Owners of California and Gun Owners of America. GOA, among others, are suing the governor of New Mexico, and I have a feeling that she's going to lose spectacularly, if that's actually a word. But we'll get to Sam in just a minute. Right now, I just want to mention you might want to check us out on these other locations because YouTube sometimes deletes videos. Check us out on Twitter. I'm trying to get that to grow. Check us out on Rumble. I'm trying to get that to grow, or any of these places. Whichever one you like the best, that's the place to be. And if you'd like to support the channel, please do that by going to GunGuyTVCrew.com. And you can sign up over there for exclusive content you can't get anywhere else. Okay, let's go talk to Sam. Sam, thank you very much for racing out of the Capitol to run into, you jacked somebody's car. I don't know who. To talk about what's going on with New Mexico Governor Grisham, who is the poster child for tyranny just about now. And I understand, I've been following Eric and other people at GOA. You guys are going after her and taking her to task to straighten this out. What's going on out there in New Mexico?
Well, Governor Lujan Grisham decided that she was king or queen or empress or something, and declared that the people's Second Amendment rights were going to be suspended by her executive order, something that is completely unconstitutional. Yeah, there are things that can happen in an emergency, like the world is coming apart or nuclear war or something like that. But the fact that there's crime in her state does not rise to the level of emergency that gives her any sort of special powers to suspend the Constitution. So she did that. And of course, GOA and GOF and even GOC, we were not going to stand still for that. So we filed a lawsuit asking for an immediate hearing, requesting a temporary restraining order from her executive order going into effect. So we're on it. Tomorrow we'll hear something about it. I think there have been multiple lawsuits that have been filed. Ours is now first in line, and we're pretty proud of that. Very principle-based, and clearly points out that the governor is just off her rocker, to the point of which there are a couple of members of her legislature that are calling for her impeachment. I know that there are people in the gun community that are calling for her to be arrested as a tyrant for breaking the law. And so,
well, even Elon Musk came out and said, I mean, when you got David Hogg or whatever the heck that guy's name is saying this, now he's the most rabid anti-gun person on the planet. And even he thought it was wrong. I mean, good grief. Elon Musk is like, how quickly can this person be removed from office? She's an attorney, isn't she? I mean, she's got to know that what she's doing is patently illegal. And so my question is, why can't we arrest these people when they do this stuff? She knows she's breaking the law. She knows she's violating her oath. She knows she's violating the Constitution. She knows as a governor of a state, she has no authority to do this. And yet she does it anyway. Thankfully, the local police chief and the DA have said, no, I'm not enforcing this. But if it were in a different place where they just got in lockstep with her, gun owners would be in deep trouble.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, don't put too much credence into David Hogg and his ilk. I think their concern is not that she did something unconstitutional, but that she might empower pro-2A governors throughout the country to use the same tactic that she's used in order to declare an emergency, requiring people to have guns and protecting the Second Amendment. So I don't put much credence into their opposition, but you're right. And the fact of the matter is, in our Constitution and the Constitution of all of the states, people who are elected officials cannot be held criminally liable for actions that they take while they're in office, to supposedly performing their duties. So, but we do have different ways of addressing those issues, and those issues are in the courts, and that's what we're doing. I'd love to have her arrested and thrown behind bars for being a tyrant, with a poster of King George III on the wall of the cell, and
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Well, at the same time, I understand. I'm grateful for the DA, who obviously is an elected official. I'm grateful for the police chief, obviously not an elected official, but the mayor and the city council and the city manager who hires the police chief are. So I guess there's some, the sheriff was sort of wishy-washy about it. I was ashamed of the sheriff because he has no guts. But God bless the police chief and the DA. And then I saw a video today of folks showing up in protest, open carrying all over the place, long guns, handguns, whatever, saying, come and take it. Good for them. I mean, they have the legal right to do that. It's and they are. And I thought, first looked at that, I thought these people are not sheep. They're citizens, are not subjects. So I was very proud of them, and I thought, way to go. And they were peaceful. They were peaceful, unless something happened that I don't know about. But, you probably got a better handle on that than I do. So what's the next step at this point? Take her to court and have the court. Yep. I mean, how quickly will the court decide this, do you think?
Well, it's going to be it's already been filed. It will be in court here very soon, within days, to plead our case if we have to. I mean, any self-respecting judge will immediately realize that this was an egregious overstep on the part of the governor, and that they don't need any testimony. They don't need anything else but to say unconstitutional, cannot do that. That executive order is null and void. And if you try it again, we'll hold you into contempt of court, and then we will throw you in prison or in jail. But Joel, I mean, something like this hasn't happened since Lexington and Concord. I mean, that's how bad and terrible and tyrannical this is. This is the kind of stuff that causes people to revolt. Now, we're not calling for a revolution. You're absolutely correct. Those people that protested, they were passionate, but they were peaceful, and they were dedicated to maintaining and exercising their Second Amendment rights, and we applaud them. So next step is we have to wait and see what the court does with our complaint, and if the court does what it should do, this law should go into the dustbin of gubernatorial tyranny throughout the history of the United States. So,
Which brings up a question. I mean, is this governor just completely off her rocker, or is she the test case that they put forth to see if this would fly?
The governor is one of those who operates out of emotion and not intellect. The fact of the matter is that she was talking about horrible murders, and what's something that we all find abhorrent. But to infringe on the rights of the law-abiding who protect themselves from those horrors happening to them is unconscionable. And I read something yesterday that said that actual crime rate in New Mexico is going down, and she pulls this kind of shenanigans. That shows me that she is legislating or ruling on emotion and not on fact and logic. So, and certainly not on the color of law, the actual laws that govern the United States and even the state of Mexico, New Mexico. So, she's an example of those politicians that just will not take the law on its face. She flipped the middle finger to the Supreme Court. She flipped the middle finger to the Constitution and let the world know that she is not going to comply, admitting that her oath is not really an oath, that taking an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States and the state of Mexico is kind of like a suggestion. It's like the Pirates Code, it's more of a suggestion than it is a code. And so if you cannot keep your word on an oath, what will you keep your word on?
This is not going to stand, obviously. Like you said, any judge with two working brain cells is going to kill this thing as rapidly as possible. It just seems to me that she's sort of a gift that keeps on giving, in the sense that she's now become the poster child for tyranny. We can say, well, see, they say they won't want it, they don't want to do it, but there it is, right there. She just did it, and we'd be right. I mean, in the long run, I guess, in the short run, this is terrible. In the long run, it seems to me that this actually might help our cause more than it helps theirs. What are your thoughts?
Bingo. What she has done is opening the eyes of people who have not been two-way-centric. That hasn't been the key issue that motivates their political activities or their lives, but they are now paying attention. How can this happen? How can a governor do what she has done? If she can take away Second Amendment rights, why couldn't she declare an emergency and take away First Amendment rights, or Fifth Amendment rights, or Fourth Amendment rights? And you're right. The Bill of Rights was a set of documents and that said these rights pre-exist the Constitution, and this is what the government cannot do. It cannot infringe on the right to keep and bear arms. It cannot stop people from speaking and assembling. It cannot house military people in people's private homes. It cannot take away your rights to self-incrimination and these things. And she has just turned that on its head. And I think a lot of people are noticing, and I think a lot of people are going to say, wow, maybe she should not be reelected, because if she'll do it with this, what else will she do it with? And for what reason? And there are going to be a lot of politicians out there that are going to see what happens to her and are going to say, maybe I don't want that to happen to me. And,
she's sort of the Bud Light of governors just about now. I think, wouldn't you say? The thing that's interesting to me is that, we joke around, people say something, one of these politicians will say something, and we go, good night, they just said the quiet part out loud. Well, she didn't say it, she did it.
Yeah.
She did the quiet part. They're always, well, we're not coming to take your guns. We really want, I support the Second Amendment, but I support the Second Amendment. No, they don't at all. Period. And she is like I said, she's the poster child of that. She's just come out and proven to us that we're right. And and I do not believe that where politicians are concerned, she is in any way unique. I mean, you deal with politicians all the time. Is this mindset unique among anti-gun politicians?
I believe that it is not unique, but most of them are cowards to the point that, let her do it and let's see what happens. If nothing happens to her, then maybe we can try this. But if she gets overturned and ridiculed, there will be a lot of politicians that believe exactly the way she does, who will not take action for fear of being reprimanded by not only the courts but the voting public. So again, you're right. She's kind of a gift. She's pulled the curtain away from the guy working all of the levers and pushing all the buttons, and now we see that what their real intention is, and she can't back away from this. There's no way she can justify. Oh, okay, I got it wrong, and we got to do something. We got to do something. She can't back away from this. So this will be her legacy for the rest of her time in government as the governor that implemented the most tyrannical act maybe in the history of our country. I think that your average American out there will see this as a flagrant and egregious overstep on the part of government, and the fact that they are doing what everybody said they would never do is opening people's eyes, and that's just a beautiful thing. And because we know we're going to win. We know we're going to defeat her. We know her executive order is going to be declared unconstitutional. And this is an exercise that we had to go through for people to realize how politicians think, and that given the opportunity, they're very willing to exercise their own agenda on guns. I'm up here at the Capitol listening to bill after bill after bill where the government, the leftist progressive leadership in the legislature doesn't believe that it's the criminals' fault that they are committing crimes, and they're very happy not to charge them or not to give them sentences in prison, to give them diversionary programs. But when it comes to us, they are happy to charge us with crimes, fine us, and put us behind bars. The law-abiding citizens who choose to exercise their Second Amendment rights. Another way to look at this is that the leftist anti-gunners are in their death throes. They are trying anything and everything, hoping that something will stick, knowing full well that they're going to get defeated in the courts. That's why people like Senator Portantino put severability clauses in his bill, multiple severability clauses, stating that if the portion of this bill is declared unconstitutional, the rest of the bill still goes into effect. That is telling you that they know they're going to lose, and so I think that's what's happening. I think Governor Lujan is an example of this. I think Senator Portantino is an example of this, and that's why right now we need to stay engaged so that we can have the ability to immediately file a lawsuit to stop somebody like the governor of New Mexico. I even hate saying her name, but she's done everything to indelibly etch her name in stone in history.
In a weird sort of way, largely because the DA, the local authorities, are not enforcing it anyway. Mm-hmm. In a weird sort of way, I'm kind of glad she did it, because now every time somebody says, "Oh no, I'm going to point at her. I'm going to take out her picture. I'm going to say, "Oh no, here you go, right here. Remember this chick? Remember this chick? Yeah, she's the one. And guess what? She ain't the only one. The rest of them are the same way." And so I think
she has validated. She has validated everything that we have been saying about the intentions of the anti-gun left, that they want to disarm us. They want to prevent us from carrying guns, having guns in our home, carrying guns in public, defending our families, and being our own first line of defense against those who would do us wrong and do us harm. It's now unassailable. It is no longer conjecture. It is a fact. And that fact will never be erased. Everybody now knows that the anti-gun left wants to disarm us. That's what they want to do. So thank you, Joel, for giving me the opportunity to give you my opinions of the governor of the state of New Mexico. So
I think I could have told you what they were before we even got on the call, but I totally get it. Sam, have a great day. Get back in the fight, and thank you very much for all the work you're doing. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you, Joel. Love you, man.
Thank you very much for watching the entire video. I really do appreciate it. And as Sam said, please do stay involved. Sign up at Gun Guy TV Crew to help me out a little bit. Go to Practical Defense Systems, take a class. That's the company I own. That helps me out a little bit, keeps the thing running. And if you wouldn't mind, please like the video, subscribe, and share it. It will help me to get this channel growing. because the bigger it goes, the more people I can reach with this kind of information. Have a great week. Thank you again. And wherever you go, whatever you do, stay safe.